welcome. This is the first Deltec Productions video. We are going to be taking a look at Valhalla Hills, a settlers-like game that is pretty enjoyable. So we're going to be taking a look at this from the very first perspective here, starting out literally on the first island. Now, what we will be dealing with here is we are the builder god cast out of Asgard by Odin. Now we need to ascend back up the hills in order to get back into Valhalla, and we can try to bring our little Vikings with us as they help us achieve our aims moving forward. They can also gain enough honor themselves just to move forward into Asgard and ascend. Now, let's go ahead and get started here. So this is about as flat and small as you can go. The game does take you through the tutorial aspects, unlocking certain features and buildings at different times during your progression here. Now what we're going to go over just real fast is tool makers. They will make everything essential for your village. Just go ahead and place that. And then a woodcutter. And then we can place him anywhere in these green hexagons. Anywhere without, they actually will not place, but anywhere in the green you will have normal building costs, so nothing too much to worry about. Only thing that you should worry about is destroying your actual fruit-bearing bushes and trees. So if I did build that there, we lose that renewable resource, and the Vikings do enjoy having their fruit. Now with that, we've gone ahead and opened the portal, which is how we can ascend to the next level. So let's go ahead and get that taken care of here right now. You see a multitude of unlocks here, which we will go over as we enter the next level. So nice little victory screen here for us, and enter the portal and start next mission. It will go over the unlocks for you here, and basically let you know what's going on. So, click to continue. Still a pretty small island. Does not look like we're going to be encountering any enemies as of yet. So, production. Toolmaker is, once again, essential. I try to put them as close to the initial resources as possible, just to make that easy as possible. Obviously, you're going to want to put your woodcutter around actual wood. That way you do have a resource to cut down. And food. We're going to need food, but let's just go ahead and worry about these first two buildings here. And tents. Now, you can assign carriers, which basically give you an additional worker to develop what you're building. He'll carry the resources there, so you can double, triple, quadruple your speed sometimes on the actual building time. Your toolmaker can also utilize carriers to bring him the resources that he is going to need to conduct his work as a toolmaker. Now, without tools, I have noticed that the woodcutter tends to just punch down the tree if he's not eating. Or actually right now he's just collecting wood from right there. Up there he goes. He's punching it. Get a cam view of him. He's getting some good shots in there. That's how the Vikings had to work out, though, I guess. Just some crazy no holds bar against a bush, holding it down. Alright, so we'll go ahead and leave that alone there. Once you do get an axe produced, he will use an axe on said resource and get that going. Fishing lodge is another great way that you can attain food. You will see rabbits here. Unfortunately, we don't have a hunter available yet, so we're unable to attain that leather or juicy meat that they have available. Apparently, they've just got a mutton hanging off. So that is really about that for this point here. Viking needs to come close, so we'll go over the military aspect. Now there's two things that you can do. You can go ahead and build an altar, or you can build a military camp. We'll do both just for the sake of it, and we should probably get some more tents down. Tents will allow you to increase your actual Viking capacity, which will allow you to have more Vikings in the long run, whereas your requested Vikings is your total amount available for said map. So there is an element of making sure that they don't die, which we'll get into kind of later as we run into that. So you'll notice some notifications up here. Tutorial second mission unlocks for the next mission we do. Building is ready. Warrior has no weapon. Building ready, building ready. So warrior has no weapon. Your warriors can be equipped with a basic simple axe, which is real easy to create. It is... what is that? 1 stick and 1 flintstone. So that's pretty much nothing when you have a woodcutter going. And you can also sacrifice to do this opening of the portal. A fight or a sacrifice. Now, honestly, I'm not going to give them my wood. I've got no reason. My wood is my wood. Can't take it. So, we're going to go ahead, recruit some more Vikings into the military camp, which you can right-click to move. However, once again, be careful. This will delete bushes, and then you'll no longer have the fruit from said bush. Now, doing that, we're going to go ahead and want to build as many axes as possible. And when they're tired or hungry, they'll go ahead and go feed themselves. And hopefully feed themselves. You get a bunch of fish just sitting there. They're not going for it, but that'll happen. Honestly, we can probably take him with just this because it's just the one dude. So when we open the portal, he just starts attacking. Our Master of Ceremonies is there. He's helping. We murdered it. Let's go ahead and get in a little something a little bit more advanced here. But those are just giving you basic aspects to it. Now we do have the path unlocked, which is greatly needed, and small storage. Also difficult terrain. Pedestals, so we'll be getting into some of the more extenuating building costs. Moving on here, and a few other buildings that we'll talk about moving into this next portion. So, toolmaker. Once again, I always look for green, but I try not to sacrifice the bush. Sometimes you just gotta keep the bush around. Not all the time. Sometimes. Go ahead and get the woodmaker down. Now, one thing that did unlock for us here is the path system. Now with paths, green is the entrance of your buildings, so I like to drag green to green. Now this is going to do one of two things. The path itself will actually upgrade over time and use, but it also increases the area, and once that's built you'll be able to see it increases the area that resource buildings will be able to affect and generate said resources off of. Now as we get that moving, let's go ahead and take a look at the terrain we're dealing with. Still don't have a hunter. So many rabbits and no hunter. But one thing that we do have on this map is enemies before the portal even. So do have a couple of female Asgards. Vicious. You do see they have melee and ranged weapons available. Honestly, they're not too big of a pain. When you do engage them in combat, there's something in their AI that makes them run away, like the Vikings do when they get low enough. So, they're not too difficult of an adversary to overtake. Now, we're gonna go ahead and speed this up to get this just going. Hammer, axe, get those. Now, like I said, I usually like to get a quarry going as fast as possible. So you do need it to make additional axes, and if you are going for a military victory, simple axes can work. I mean, if you got the numbers on your side, which once again, you are limited to the requested amount of Vikings, but what I like to do is just get rid of my reserve force of carriers that I have working everywhere, and then that way everybody wins. So, then we're going to go over the increased building costs here real fast since that's come up. So, we picked a tent, 2 wood, not that bad. As you move yellow to red, green to red really in color, will increase the base cost of the building. So, this suddenly turned into 4 logs instead of just the 2. On orange, it's 4 logs and then 2. I'm just messing that up right there. Alright, so 2 and 2, 4 and 2, and if there were red on here, pretty much guaranteeing it would be 6 and 2. But since we don't really have any enemies to worry about right now, we can go ahead and just get the tents going, where they're not going to destroy any lovely bushes with all the glorious fruits. Now, the packs of mobs do travel down sometimes. I've noticed especially at night they seem to come down out of the mountains and wreak havoc amongst your village, which is not fun when you're just designed for going for resources. Notice paths will not destroy bushes. They keep them safe. And now our total Viking capacity has gone up. Increased cost, but what can you do? You'll also notice that the tiles start disappearing. The good ones do, at least, as you start building. There's a big cutoff point around it there. But with that amount of tents, we should have enough to where nobody's going to be homeless. So they'll all be properly rested instead of bunking up under trees. Let's see here, and we have got the hunter unlocked to go into next time, because this is just a plethora. Now, with this, when you do click on your resource gathering buildings, you can see their area of effect on the ground. So he's pretty much going to quarry this stuff here. Should probably put a path. I don't like ugly paths. What can anything be built here that's not going to destroy a bush? It's destroying a bush. We will get some storage down, and then go ahead and put a path down. Now, one cool thing with storage is once it is built, it automatically assigns a worker, and anything within his sphere, he will go, and if I can click on it, there we go. Anything within his sphere that's dropped, he'll go gather, be it meat, leather, wood, the random starting materials, pretty much anything, and he'll go ahead and toss it in the storage there. He'll pick berries and fruits. He's your pretty general worker, and you can assign another one to work there if you wanted to. And we should probably get another small storage. Once again, look for the green as much as possible. It just makes it simpler on everybody. I'm totally full, so I'm gonna start arming up for our army here. Now, a couple things that we can go into, since they did give it to us, is wheat farming, and ale, and your soldiers and how that works. So we will need a stone mason. He will take just regular stone and go ahead and break it into stone bricks and flint, which are also needed at higher tiers. Now, get that wheat farm there. Gonna need another hammer, and now we will need a scythe as well. Do we ever build off fishing? Or are they just going off of berries? Might just be going off of berries. Oh, and apparently we also need a sawmill, because we forgot to build one of those. Well, I forgot to build one of those on that point. So there we go, we got a storage worker. He's grabbing the wood, which empties up the space in here, which will allow your worker to go out and gather more wood once again. And we are going to want to do some paths outward to increase his range. Also want to think about that quarry. Just path it to right there. And then as you see, boom, we've unlocked a lot of additional wood that he can go ahead and exploit. And I can show you the path upgrade, because it does look like they've actually used one enough to where it's showing. So the first version of it actually places little wood log path markers in there, essentially. I believe it is about 900 or 1,000 that you do get that. See, hunger. But I think that's my fault because I don't have... Oh, oh. See, they went to gather berries, and now they're fist fighting with the ice guards. It's just a brawl. Wow. You never know what hungry Vikings will do, but I told you they wanted them berries. Now, this is another mechanic that you'll run into, is too hungry to work. Which is, yeah, what you want to avoid at all costs. It can be rough on every aspect of everything, because it can affect anybody. So to try to fix this real fast, what we'll do... I believe there are some trees that also produce fruit, but I may be wrong. I maybe just have been looking at a big bush. Storage. Now, small storage is, as implied, fairly small. And we can go ahead and show you the altar portion, since we already killed the dudes that were up there anyway. So building an altar, pretty easy stuff. It is just stone. From there, when you look at the portal, it'll show you your enemies. So 2 female ice guards. Our hungry Vikings beat up 3 of them, so I think that would be fine. But just to show you guys, or 5 fish. Now the only thing I believe we may run into is just they're so hungry they're going to be eating all the fish. But to try to reverse that, I'm going to go ahead and call in some fresh Vikings. Try to up our food sources. Now the altar is a pretty cool idea, but at the higher levels, I feel like it's just easier to go for the military victory over sacrificing the amount of ore and whatnot that they do ask you to sacrifice. But at the same time, if you didn't want to be militaristic, you can just do what you want. The altar is the other way. Boom. So now we have a master of offerings, and we'll go ahead and assign some carriers there. They'll go looking for some fish. I feel like all the fish are getting eaten. Some carriers going. So one thing with carriers is they do allow your stonemason, your woodcutter, etc. to continue to just blast out the work instead of having to travel around looking for the resources that it needs, which can be a pain, honestly. Let's go ahead and get another. And I figure if we're going to be sacrificing fishes, we might as well get down a good layer of fishes to be sacrificed. Probably gonna end up needing another fishing pole. Fishing pole real cheap, 1 stick, sickle, stick flint, stick stone, stick flint. Pretty much all the items within the toolmaker are gonna be cheap. Let's go ahead and get our brewery placed down though, because I know I kinda teased that we were gonna talk about that a little bit. Let's see here, path that down. Now the brewery is essentially a quick way for your warriors to get a boost and have some food. Start off right. Not food, have some health. Increased health regeneration. Other enemies will drop gold and stuff, and that will actually increase the damage done, and eventually you can mine for gold and get a gold smelter, to increase the damage done of your army as well. Now already this has upgraded because they've just been walking over it a ton. Get some more carriers assigned because we need fish. Now with wheat automatically grows. So it'll just kind of grow where your region is here, which is kind of nice. And at this point, right now, we don't have anything else that's going to use wheat except for a brewery, which will require water and wheat. Let's go ahead and see, we have hit our max of requested Vikings at this point. But we've only got 4 fish left to deliver, 3 fish left. Oh, for some reason they just walk up there even if they don't have anything. It's just a little pilgrimage for them, I guess, but whatever works. What we should do is put another small storage, like right there. Path that down. And hopefully by the time that's built, if that even has a builder, have him make the truck a little shorter. Alright, so we've got all the fish needed to perform the offering. As far as I know, it's nothing too lustrous. Let's go ahead and click away here. Yep. Boom. We did it. We did it, boys. That was the end of that adventure. Before we got to see the beer, I do apologize for that. We did miss out on the beer there. I'm going to call it quits for this point here. We will pick it up again shortly and continue in this journey of Valhalla Hills. In the return to Asgard. So once again, thank you for joining me here and hope you have a wonderful day. Please subscribe and look forward to the next video.